The San Francisco 49ers cannot afford to make mistakes at this point. Every decision they make in the coming days will be crucial, and the draft will play a significant role in shaping the future of the team. With that in mind, let's take a deep dive into some of the latest updates and key information regarding the 49ers draft, highlighting potential players to consider for the upcoming selections. There's a lot to unpack here, so keep watching as we explore all the possibilities. Recently, a well-known sports analyst was asked about the current state of each team and how they're approaching the draft this year. This expert often assesses all 32 teams, including the 49ers, in great detail, and his insights can give us a clearer understanding of where the 49ers stand heading into the draft. The consensus seems to be that the 49ers' most pressing need lies in the defensive line, particularly after losing 3 of their 4 starting defensive linemen during free agency. Now, there's an argument to be made that the team should seek a reliable partner for Nick Bosa at the defensive end position, but the real priority here is addressing the defensive tackle spot. This is where it gets interesting, as there are certainly some standout edge rushers who might still be available in the first round, and they could provide an instant impact on the 49ers defense. If they opt for a defensive tackle early on, there's always the risk of missing out on one of these highly talented edge players, which could be a huge blow to the team's pass rush potential. The 49ers have been in discussions with a number of prospects ahead of the draft, and it's clear they're looking to cover all their bases. The team has had virtual meetings with a defensive end from SMU, a player who may not be selected early in the draft, but still has a lot of promise. Interestingly, the 49ers have met with several other prospects, many of whom are expected to be picked later in the draft, possibly in the 3rd or 4th rounds. This is definitely intriguing, as it shows that the 49ers are considering a wide range of possibilities and aren't necessarily locked into any one player. While the focus might be on defensive tackle, they're also keeping an eye on potential players who might be available later. And even though there's an emphasis on filling the defensive line needs, the team's overall strategy seems to be flexible enough to allow for some surprises. One player who stands out in this conversation is a prospect who may be available later in the draft, an edge rusher who may be picked in the 3rd round but has the potential to be selected higher depending on how things unfold. This player, while not the most athletic in terms of traditional measures, has an intriguing build at 6'4" and 285 pounds. His nearly 34-inch arms and overall strength make him a formidable force on the field. Over the course of 2 seasons, he posted impressive numbers, including 131 pressures, 21 sacks, and 18 quarterback hits. What's even more interesting is that he's shown the ability to play both on the edge and as an interior rusher, something the 49ers tend to value highly in their defensive ends. This player's versatility is a huge asset. While he might not have the explosive speed or flexibility that some of the top edge players possess, he compensates with his size, power, and the ability to play in different positions along the defensive line. The fact that he's capable of shifting inside gives the 49ers some flexibility in how they structure their defensive line, and it's clear they value that kind of adaptability in their players. So, while he may not be the flashiest pick, he could prove to be an important asset for the team in the future. It's also worth noting that this player has been consistently ranked as one of the top defensive ends over the past couple of years, further solidifying his potential. Despite not being the most athletically gifted player, his combination of size, strength, and versatility could make him a real asset to the 49ers defense. If the team chooses to go after a defensive tackle early, this player could be an intriguing option in the later rounds, and the 49ers will undoubtedly be keeping an eye on him as they prepare for the draft. What does all of this mean for the 49ers' future? Well, if they do decide to go with a defensive tackle in the 1st round, they will likely need to consider all their options carefully. This could be a situation where the team opts for a best player available approach, even if that means passing on a high-profile defensive end in favor of a more immediate need on the interior defensive line. At the end of the day, the team's success will depend on how well they manage their resources and make the right picks in the draft. It's clear that the defensive line is an area of concern, but there are still plenty of talented players out there who could help fill the gaps. As the draft approaches, the excitement continues to build. The 49ers have a unique opportunity to reshape their defense, and take a big step forward in the coming seasons. There's still a lot of uncertainty surrounding the exact direction the team will take, but one thing is for sure. The choices they make over the next few weeks will be critical to their success. With that in mind, it's important to keep an eye on how the draft unfolds and which players ultimately end up in San Francisco. The bottom line is that the 49ers' needs are numerous, and they must make some tough decisions in the draft. Whether they choose to prioritize defensive tackle, defensive end, or another position entirely, the team will be looking to add players who can make an immediate impact. The competition is fierce, and the 49ers' ability to identify the right prospects will play a major role in their success going forward. Time will tell how things shake out, but the anticipation is certainly building, and fans everywhere are eager to see what the future holds for this talented team. As we continue to analyze the 49ers' draft strategy, we delve deeper into their potential needs and the possible directions the team could take. The defensive line has been a focal point for the 49ers this offseason, and with their losses on the defensive front, it's clear they need to make some key decisions. While some fans and analysts may have different opinions about where the team should focus its efforts, there's no denying that the upcoming draft is a huge opportunity for San Francisco to solidify its defense and build a stronger unit for the future. The truth is, while defensive tackle remains the 49ers' most urgent need, there's a balance to be struck. They need to think long-term, not just about filling holes in the immediate future. That's why, despite the glaring need for a defensive tackle, the team can't afford to ignore other key positions, such as defensive end. San Francisco is known for having one of the most aggressive defensive schemes in the league, and having a strong, dynamic edge rusher to complement Bosa could elevate their defense to a whole new level. There's a distinct possibility that the 49ers could look to bolster both their defensive tackle and edge positions in the early rounds of the draft, finding a way to address both needs without sacrificing one for the other. The 49ers will likely need to make a decision soon about which positions they will prioritize in the draft. While defensive tackle and edge rusher are both pressing needs, it's possible that the team could find value in a player who can contribute in multiple areas. The team's front office has shown a willingness to look beyond the first round for talent, and if they do end up drafting a defensive tackle in the second or third round, this could help them shore up their defensive line without using their first pick on that position. Looking ahead, the 49ers need to strike the right balance between drafting for immediate needs and looking to the future. A defensive tackle or an edge rusher could be exactly what the team needs to stay competitive in a tough NFC West, but the decision will depend on who is available when the 49ers are on the clock. One thing is for certain. With so many talented players in this draft class, the 49ers will have plenty of options to choose from. As we continue to analyze the 49ers' draft strategy, it's important to recognize the complexity of the situation. The team's front office faces a tough challenge when it comes to making the right choices, particularly when balancing the need for immediate help with long-term success. With a solid core in place, such as the defensive line star Nick Bosa, the 49ers must carefully address their gaps without compromising the foundation of the team. The questions surrounding their draft selections are multifaceted, and there's no clear-cut answer as to whether they should prioritize a defensive tackle or an edge rusher early on. The 49ers are in a fortunate position, having a relatively strong roster already. However, as any NFL team knows, even the best teams can improve, and it's the smart draft choices that often separate the contenders from the pretenders. That's why the 49ers must be careful not to make a rash decision at pick number 11. While defensive tackle is certainly a glaring need, particularly after losing 3 starters in the offseason, the team cannot afford to lock themselves into filling that position at the expense of a potentially game-changing edge rusher or another top talent. The draft is full of surprises, and sometimes the best move is to stay flexible and open to opportunities that arise. One of the big questions that continues to hover over the 49ers draft plans is whether they'll go with a defensive tackle in the first round or take a risk and pick a player at another position. If they choose to address the defensive tackle position early, they will likely be looking for someone who can provide both strength and agility to disrupt the offensive line. The ideal candidate would be a player who can eat up space and clog running lanes, but also one who can put pressure on the quarterback and be disruptive in passing situations. This type of player is invaluable in today's NFL, where offenses are constantly looking for ways to protect their quarterbacks and establish the run game. The question then becomes, should the 49ers use their first-round pick on a defensive tackle who might not be quite as polished as other prospects, or should they target an edge rusher who can step in immediately and make an impact on the outside? The team's defensive scheme has historically thrived when it has had elite edge rushers capable of collapsing the pocket and forcing quarterbacks into difficult situations. With Bosa anchoring one side, adding another dynamic player on the edge could make the 49ers defense one of the most fearsome in the league. However, the situation is made even more complex by the fact that the 49ers draft position at number 11 could provide them with a unique opportunity to land a highly coveted player. The team's draft board will likely be filled with players who could help in various areas, from defensive line to secondary and beyond. The 49ers may find themselves in a position where they have to decide between taking a risk on a player they believe could develop into a star or going with a more immediate solution in a position like defensive tackle. This balance between short-term needs and long-term development is something that every team faces in the draft, but it's particularly important for a team like the 49ers, who are already close to championship contention. If the 49ers opt to pass on a defensive tackle in favor of another position, there are still plenty of options available. For instance, they could look at adding depth in the secondary, where they have been solid, but could use some fresh talent to bolster their cornerbacks and safeties. Alternatively, the team could continue to build on their offensive line, which, while strong, could benefit from further depth and competition at certain positions. The depth of this draft class makes it possible for the 49ers to address multiple needs while still finding value later in the selection process. A particularly interesting area to consider is the possibility of drafting a defensive player in the second or third round who could step in immediately as a starter or rotational player. There are several intriguing defensive tackles and edge rushers who could provide the team with immediate help while also offering upside for future development. These players might not have the immediate star potential of someone picked in the first round, but they could still be valuable contributors, especially if the 49ers are able to develop them over time. Another factor to consider is how the team evaluates the depth at various positions. In recent years, the 49ers have shown a willingness to take risks on players they believe have high potential, even if they aren't as highly regarded by the mainstream scouting community. This approach has paid off in the past, with several late-round picks becoming key contributors on the team. Given the depth of talent available in this draft class, it's very likely that the 49ers could find a diamond in the rough in later rounds who could eventually become a starter or a key rotational piece. Looking ahead, the 49ers will have to make a decision about whether they want to focus on filling a specific need or take the best player available, regardless of position. If they go with the best player available, there's a good chance that they will land a player who can make an immediate impact on the field, whether it's a defensive tackle, edge rusher, or another position entirely. However, if they focus too heavily on one area of need, they risk passing on a player who could be a long-term solution for a different position, one that could prove just as valuable as a defensive tackle. Ultimately, the 49ers are in a great position heading into the draft. They have a solid foundation and don't need to panic about filling every hole immediately. Instead, the team can take a measured approach, focusing on players who will fit into their system and contribute to their long-term success. Whether they choose to go with a defensive tackle, edge rusher, or another position, the key will be finding players who can make an immediate impact while also developing into key contributors in the future. This draft presents the 49ers with a unique opportunity to continue building on their strengths and addressing their weaknesses. The team is already one of the most talented in the league, but with the right draft selections, they could take their roster to the next level. Whether they address the defensive line early or opt for a more balanced approach, the 49ers must stay true to their vision for the future. The next few weeks will be crucial in determining the team's direction, and the excitement surrounding the draft is palpable. Fans are eager to see how the 49ers will make their selections and how those picks will shape the team's success in the years to come. As the draft approaches, the 49ers management will undoubtedly continue to evaluate their options and refine their strategy. Every pick counts, and the pressure to get it right has never been higher. But with a strong scouting department, a clear vision, and a solid roster to build upon, the 49ers are in a position to make the right calls and keep their championship window wide open. The coming weeks will be filled with anticipation, but one thing is for sure. The 49ers are poised to make some bold moves that could pay off in a big way. Whether they land a star defensive tackle, edge rusher, or another key player, the 49ers are ready to continue their pursuit of greatness. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Imagine a future where Puka Nacua, the electrifying wide receiver who made waves with the Los Angeles Rams, becomes a key player for the San Francisco 49ers. It's a thought that's been gaining traction, particularly after his remarkable rookie season and the unforgettable matchups with the 49ers last year. Could this talented, dynamic athlete be the missing piece in the Niners' already potent offense? The potential for Nacua to join the 49ers has fans buzzing with anticipation, and a closer look at his career reveals just why this move would make perfect sense. Nacua's 2023 rookie season was nothing short of extraordinary. After transferring from Washington to BYU, he was drafted by the Rams in the 5th round, and he quickly proved he was more than a late-round pick. With record-breaking performances, including setting rookie records for receiving yards and receptions, Nacua was named to the Pro Bowl and earned a spot as a second-team All-Pro. His explosive playmaking ability was on full display, and it's clear he's a force to be reckoned with. But what does this mean for the 49ers? With his incredible ability to stretch the field and make game-changing catches, Nacua could complement the 49ers' offense in ways fans are only starting to dream about. However, Nacua's 2024 season got off to a rough start. An injury in training camp left him sidelined with a burst versus sack in his knee, delaying his return to action. When he finally made it back on the field, Nacua faced more setbacks, including a PCL sprain that landed him on injured reserve. Despite these challenges, his return was marked by a strong performance against the Minnesota Vikings, where he registered over 100 receiving yards. His resilience and determination to get back to peak performance could be a key asset to any team looking to add depth and talent to their roster, especially the 49ers, who value versatility and determination. Nacua's performance against the 49ers last season also left a lasting impression. In a gritty, rain-soaked game at Levi's Stadium, Nacua caught 7 passes for 97 yards, including a stunning play against cornerback Charvarius Ward that immediately became the talk of the NFL. The comparison to David Tyree's iconic Super Bowl catch was inevitable, and it's easy to see why fans and analysts alike have started to imagine Nacua in a 49ers uniform. With the 49ers known for their strategic offense, adding a player of Nacua's caliber could elevate their already dangerous passing game to new heights. As the 49ers continue to build their roster for future success, the idea of adding a proven playmaker like Puka Nacua is one that's hard to ignore. With a fresh start after overcoming his injury woes, Nacua could offer the 49ers the explosive playmaking ability they need. Whether it's stretching the field with long receptions or contributing in a versatile offensive role, Nacua's potential fit in San Francisco is undeniable. For 49ers fans, this is a story worth watching closely as the future of the team unfolds. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.